Shazia Hobbs is an ex-Muslim author and activist who has been vocal in criticising the state's handling of the Muslim community's crimes. Recently, her tweets criticising Sadiq Khan's inaction on female genital mutilation was read out as an example of hate speech.
If you use a knife to mutilate your daughter's vagina, will the full force of the law be brought down on you? Asking for a Muslim. Let's work together to end this hate.
I sat down with Shazia to find out more about her tweet and her thoughts on being used as an example of extreme hate. So you asked him that, and he's used that as an example of
hate speech.
Of hate speech. For asking him that simple question. The question you was getting at, I guess, was to do with FGM.
Yep. So FGM is obviously a huge problem in London. There's, I don't know how many FGM clinics have opened up. We've got an FGM zero tolerance day, so it obviously is a huge problem.
Yeah, I think 55,000 British children have been victims of FGM.
Yeah, so if I was a hate preacher, then would I really give a damn what they did to their children?
And what's your background?
My dad is a bus driver.
Your dad?
Is a bus driver.
Is a bus driver.
Like Sadiq Khan's. My dad's Pakistani, my mum's Catholic.
Dad's Pakistani. You was brought up Muslim?
I brought up Muslim.
So you was brought up a Muslim. So you're a lady from the Muslim community asking a question about an epidemic of crime against young Muslim children.
It doesn't happen in the Pakistani community, but it does happen to Muslim children. It happens to British children. I grew up in a polygamous home, so my dad had, because they're allowed to have four wives.
How many wives did your dad have?
He was married to his first cousin and my mum, so two.
He was married to your first cousin and your mum. And how was that? And what was you put into an arranged marriage? Am I right?
Forced marriage.
Talk to me about it.
An arranged marriage, you at least get to have a choice. You know, you can say no, but a forced marriage is you don't have any choice.
So you had a forced marriage?
When I was 18.
When you was 18? For how many years?
I managed to stick it out for 3 years, just under 3 years.
Was it a violent marriage?
Very violent. He had no interest in me. He was seeking asylum. And I was becoming too westernised. So the easy thing to do when you're becoming westernised is to marry you off.
That's why. So you was married off because you was becoming westernised.
When you live in the West, what else are you going to be? And
then you suffered in a violent marriage. Do you mind if I ask what he did to you?
He was just really violent. Just raped me, beat me up, and he married me for a passport, nothing else. And would often say to me as well that he was going to get married again, which he never did, unfortunately. It would have been quite good if he took another wife. But 6 months into the marriage, I gave him the triple talaq because I didn't know that women couldn't divorce their husbands. I thought, you know, I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you, but only men can do it.
That's within, so Muslim men just have to say, I divorce you 3 times and they're divorced
in front of a witness.
In front of a witness. The reason why I want to ask you these questions is because for me, for yourself, you've been a victim of problems that come with forced marriage, with problems within the Islamic community. You speak up on behalf of Muslim women?
Children especially.
Muslim women and Muslim children. And the Mayor of London is using your message to promote you as a hate preacher, to silence people, genuinely, who are in positions like yourself, who have been in positions like yourself.
I know what the harmful cultural practices that go on in the community. You know, he could have stood there and spoke about the rape of Muslim children, the abuse Muslim children get in mosques and at home. You know, there was so many different things that he could have spoke about, but instead he chose to cry about being called a pigeon.
And moan about someone asking a simple question, and the genuine concern for that is so that people understand who are watching this. There's not been one single conviction of anyone who has mutilated their daughter's genitals, which has happened to tens of thousands of children. But Sadiq Khan has created a hate hub of 900 officers to stop tweets like that.
Yep. I mean, they could be going, you know, I don't know, it should never have been a law. It should never have been, we should never have had an FGM law. It's child abuse. Why does it need its special law, you know?
At least for when they don't enforce it anyway.
Exactly. So it's child abuse. If I beat my daughter, they would come and arrest me. They would take my daughter off me.
But if you mutilated your daughter,
But if I hold her down and
they wouldn't
listen to her scream while I hack away at her, they're just going to, it's cultural.
What message would you have for Sadiq Khan? And why do you think Sadiq Khan, why do you think he's used that? Why do you think he's out in Texas talking about hate speech? What do you think he's angling towards?
That we can't say anything about Islam.
So
we can't say anything about Muslims.
To silence the opposition, silence people.
Yep, to silence people telling the truth about their harmful cultural practices. Even going back to the rape of Muslim children, we keep no stats in Britain. We don't keep any stats. In Pakistan, they keep stats of how many children are abused, raped, in mosques. Nothing here. And he doesn't say anything about hate preachers from Pakistan that come into the UK. Hate preachers that are banned from addressing crowds in Pakistan because they're so full of hate. But we welcome them into the UK and they do a tour of the mosques. Is what they're saying not hateful? Is that okay because they're Muslims?
Sadiq Khan's obsession with mean tweets and hate speech has gone too far. When people are being banned from social media for stating supposedly Islamophobic facts, or investigated and reported for asking questions about his lack of action on a series of crime crises, we have to ask who will stand up for the victims of these unfashionable crimes. And under Sadiq Khan, who will protect them when they do?
We will make America great again.